Good morning, everybody. My name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are our stories and adventures. So welcome to Moose Flats Farm. And this time of year can feel really hectic and really pressured, especially when I've got the big garden that I've got to get cleaned out. I've got to get the potato bed built. I've got to get the duck pen cleaned out, chicken coop cleaned out, all these different projects, get the peppers transplanted, get the tomatoes planted. And I'm going to be out here working on a flower bed. Why does that seem to take a priority over everything else? Let me show you. And the reason why I have to do the flower bed now as opposed to the 40 million other projects that I need to get done, because if I don't get this flower bed cleaned out, it won't be until next year that I get to clean it out. So let's take a look at what the flower bed looks like so you can kind of see what I'm meaning. So as you see, this whole flower bed is full of all this dead vegetation over the bark and the plants, but I've got daylilies starting to come up, and if I don't get this cleaned out now, they'll be too big to get cleaned out. So as I fall over, so hopefully this won't take super long and we can get back inside working on getting the tomato seeds done, because I have gone through and gotten a bunch of the peppers transplanted. So let's get this flower bed cleaned up. Well guys, we got all the old vegetation removed and I got most of the grass removed. I'm not really worried about trying to get it 100%. I have done that in the past where I completely dug this bed up, put heavy-duty landscape fabric down, fresh soil. It lasted about 3 years until the grass broke through, the grass and the daylilies broke through the landscape fabric. And then those 3 years, the daylilies did not bloom at all. So show you what it looks like, and then we're gonna put some more mulch on it. And even though this is technically a pooper scooper rake, it's just a perfect size for getting into your little flower beds, because it's got the short handle so you don't have the big handle getting in your way, and it's small enough that you can easily remove old vegetation, pine needles, leaves, pine cones, and everything out of the flower bed. So, as before, now you can really see the daylilies as they're popping up, and the batches of tulips. So I'm only going to put about 1/4 of an inch to about 1/2 an inch of new mulch over the top of this. I am using the colored red mulch just because around the pond it just looks really pretty. So let's get the mulch on and move on to get another flower bed cleaned up. So got the fence put back up and the bark put down. Looks nice and neat for another year. Now I just have to go through and get this mess raked up. And the purpose for the fence is so when the birds have access to this part of the yard, they're not as tempted to get into the pond. Well guys, that looks a million times percent better. You can definitely tell where we didn't have the good clover germination last year, and we do have a bunch of snow mold on the clover, which happens just because holding the moisture on top of it and it molds. It happens in grass also when you got a bunch of snow just sitting there and everything starting to warm up. So easy just to rake up. We will be having to reseed this, but that's probably here in about another month or so. And I'm not sure if I had the camera on or off, but this little rake here is a pooper scooper rake. I really like it for another purpose, and as you saw, for working in flower beds, because it's just nice and little and compact. It's got a long enough arm that you can reach in and pull stuff out, but it's not long enough that it's getting in the way. So let's go get the other bed in front of the house cleaned up. Well, that looks a million percent better. So even at this time of year, mulching is very important, because especially like the flower bed by the koi pond, when I went through and removed all that old vegetation, it was actually working as an insulator for the plants themselves. So if we got back down into the freezings, if I didn't cover them back up, I risk losing them due to frost damage. So putting the mulch over them, even though it looks like I covered them, I essentially did, and they'll come up through that mulch. It's nice and light. They'll just pop right back up. Probably in about a week or so, we'll see everything poking up through. The tulips and the daffodils were tall enough that the mulch just settled down around them. So let's go up, and I've got a couple hours before I have to stop and make dinner, and let's see how many of these peppers we can get transplanted. Well, you can see I do have a good head start on getting the peppers in the 4-inch pots. Have a bunch to go. Ran out to the greenhouse to get a stack of trays, and we'd bought the greenhouse shade cloth for the pepper hoop house, and we're always buying each other little I love you cards. And no, this wasn't hidden in there. I actually kind of thought it was, but this was one that he'd gotten me last year, and it was sitting on the coffee table with the shade cloth, and when he took it up to the greenhouse, I accidentally took this card up with him. So let's get on to getting some more of these peppers transplanted. Okay, as you kind of saw in the time lapse, these guys are pretty wet. Should have let them dry out a little bit more. I'd gone through and watered 2 days ago, thought they'd be good to go. So I do have this handful of just seedlings that just came straight out of the soil. So I will be planting these guys. They just are a little different than the ones that have a bunch of soil. So let's get these guys first. On these ones, you're going to want to fill your pot, kind of tamp the soil down so it's not loose. Do a little layer over the top. Dig your hole. Take your little seedling, pop it in there, and then gently backfill around it and tamp the soil down. And there's a baby Sugar Rush peach. So on these bigger ones, how you're going to do it is you'll fill your pots, make a little indentation, set your plug down in there, and then just a little around to backfill, and then gently pack the soil down around him. And peppers are not like tomatoes. They won't grow roots on their stems. So I'm not really trying to plant them super deep. I am going over a little tiny bit over the top of the seed starting medium. Just because these guys are a little on the taller side, but peppers, if they start getting too big, we can prune them no problem. Well guys, not able to transplant any more of the peppers. They're all super damp, so gonna let them dry out, hopefully get back at it tomorrow. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good day and a good week. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And our next adventure, we'll be going through tomatoes and getting tomatoes planted. So, bye for now.